Hey, what's up, guys? Rolling Wolf. Gonna get into a couple quick trade recaps from Monday. Both were on JMIA, and it's been running the last couple weeks. But I got a nice short and long in on Monday, and the two trades actually brought me over 200,000 in profits, which was awesome. Since then, it's been a pretty hectic week. Yesterday, got caught in the halt on RTNB. Ended up taking my worst loss ever, which I'll do a video about, and that brought me back under 200,000. But today had a couple nice trades that brought me back over, and I'll get into those as well tomorrow probably. But we'll stick with Monday first. Here's the year chart for JMIA, and it's been pretty beaten down actually, from the 5s to the 2s. And the last couple weeks we've had this nice bounce. It went from 2 to as high as 420 on Monday. I couldn't find a catalyst, so I wasn't playing this to the long side. I usually like to have a catalyst there if I'm going long. Not always, but most of the time. And so this one ran without me, and I was short biased on it, and shorting is something that I've been working on lately, so this seemed to be a good opportunity. On Friday, actually, this day right here, I was shorting this on Friday afternoon. Still the front side of the move, it was still strong. But I got a nice entry in at 370, kind of basing off this level over here back in May. But if you look down, there wasn't really too much volume, so it wasn't that significant. That it's hard to call this a significant level. But either way, I got a nice short entry in on Friday at 370, and it just wasn't breaking down. It was a Friday afternoon, so I ended up taking the short off before close and making a couple $100, I think. I'll have to double check, but either way, I left it alone for the weekend, and it was a good decision because we got a gap up Monday morning. It gapped all the way up to basically Friday's high, and from there it wasn't too difficult for it to break through that. So I was actually pretty excited and pretty happy. I wanted it to go higher so that I could try to get a nice short in. Now looking back in the chart, I was trying to find maybe a level of resistance to play off, but no volume back here, going all the way back. This thing has done such little volume, and with the volume it had been seeing recently, there's nothing too significant. So I decided that we'll see what happens if we get a morning spike. I was going to try to short maybe a lower high, which is actually I think it's one of the first strategies to the short side on Tim Grittani's Trading Tickers DVD. And speaking of Tim Grittani, actually, in the chat, we all announce our trades in real time for the most part in the challenge chat, but that's what's up here is him saying welcome to the dark side. And I don't know anyone who knows him, when you hear him say that, that's pretty sweet. I was actually pretty excited because he's like one of the best in the world. And while I'm at it, I gotta give a shout out to him because he just passed Tim Sykes in profits, which is amazing. So congrats to Tim Grittani, and we're all thankful for all the work he puts in because I mean he does webinars and his Trading Tickers DVD. Obviously, he put a lot of work into that, and that's formed a lot of the basis of my strategy. Even though I've gone long for the most part. I still learned a lot from that DVD, and even his shorting strategies. I mean, I've taken those and kind of just flipped them upside down for my long strategies when it comes to sizing and taking profits and whatnot. Anyways, we'll get back to the trades. So let's get into the charts here. Now, this is on the left. You have the 1-minute chart, and on the right you have the 5-minute chart. And most of the time when I'm trading, I'll have, if I'm in an active trade, I will have that stocks 1 minute, 5 minute, and daily all up together, so I can kind of get a good gauge of trends and different timelines, because I mean, different traders trade on different timelines, so it's kind of, in my opinion, it's good to see what other traders are looking at, just in case maybe you're missing something on your timeline. So that's what I use. In this case, I was using the 1 minute and 5 minute, and we'll get right into it. So here's the 1 minute on the left, and you see the gap up here from 350 and opened all the way up at 370. So it broke right through Friday's high easily and broke 370, and then you got five green candles straight up, and it was exactly what I was looking for. Obviously on the 5 minute chart it's just one big green candle. Anyways, it tops out at 420, and that's when the first pullback occurred. And now this wasn't, it's not the most volatile stock, but it was moving pretty quickly. And when it pulled back from 420, I wanted to see how far is it gonna pull back. And if in the next 2 minutes, it ended up pulling back to 405. And that was good enough for me to just give it a shot, give this strategy a shot, which is trying to short a lower high. And that's kind of what we got here if you would get in a little closer. So here's the pullback to 405, and then it popped back up and kind of stalled out 418 or so, and it's, you can't see it here, but on the level 2, and when you're watching the price action in real time, it looked like a stuff to me. It didn't look like it was getting much further. So I threw a short on at 415, 8,000 shares, and I filled the whole order, and that was into these two candles right in this area. It had already kind of started coming down, but anyways, we get this, and then it just started fading. I mean, pretty much immediately, and we got another lower high, and it was just really, really stress-free, which was nice. Normally when I'm buying a stock and going long, you know, it's almost like this sense of impending doom, like you're waiting for it to crash, but I didn't feel that once in this trade. It was pretty awesome. And if you look at the 5 minute chart, it's even cleaner. I mean, it's just red candle after red candle, and nothing to really scare me out. Now, that being said, throughout this move down, every big red candle you see, I was covering a little bit, covering some of my shares, and that was just in case I wanted to lock in gains. And one of the reasons I do that is it takes away some of the emotion. When you see the realized gain, it makes it much easier to stay patient with the rest of your shares. So I had covered some up into this move, or this entire move here, and then we did get a little bounce from 370 to 390. But since I had already locked in quite a lot of my gains, it was pretty easy to sit through it. I didn't have the urge to sell. If anything, I was thinking about adding to my position here, but I just didn't. I didn't feel a need to. I decided to just be patient with the shares that I had. And then we got further fade here, and a nice crack here, from 370 down towards green red. And at that point I did cover up some more into this, and I was watching green red, which is at this 350 level down here, to see how that would react. And if it would have held nicely, I would have definitely taken off the rest of my shares and called it a day. But it actually just went straight through. So I actually covered the rest up down in the 320s and ended up with a 341 average on my cover. And that ended up being a $5,900 gain, which was awesome. At that point, I don't know why, but I was looking for a bounce. I mean, if you look at the 5 minute chart, and this was a strong runner, mind you, I mean, it was murdered this day. And I got my last covers in down here in the 320s, and then I was watching how it would react as it got down to 3, because I figured it may bounce down by 3. And it got down to about 313, and sure enough, it did bounce here. This is the 5 minute chart on the right, obviously. But I was watching the 1 minute chart. So we got this bounce down here, and I ended up taking a long 5,000 shares right in here, I think at 322, and pretty immediately got a nice little bounce, and then I got kind of uncomfortable and sold it at 332 and made almost $500 on that. And that was literally it. That put me over 200,000 in profits, and I decided to take the rest of the day off, which I haven't done in, I want to say, 3 or 4 months. It's been since I've missed a day at the market. So that was kind of nice. Took my family out to lunch and we celebrated a little bit. But that was a great trade, and it was my best short to date, and it was quite stress-free. I was getting some questions that day as to why I was shorting the front side of the move, and how did I know that was the top, and questions of that nature. And the truth is, I didn't know it was the top. I was just trying out a strategy that I've studied, that I saw in trading tickers, and it worked out. It happened to work out really nicely. So, and then as for the way down, covering up shares and chunks helped me stay patient through bounces like this right here, and allowed me to realize all of this move as opposed to covering into this bit of strength here. I can also thank trading tickers for that. But and then as for shorting the front side of the move, that really came down to the indicators that I had to work with, which was there was no catalyst. There was a lot of chat room pumping, it looked like, going on, and it was the third day. Well, besides this, I mean, it's been running for the last week and a half almost, and you had the gap up and spike. So that was kind of yeah, it's riskier, but the way I traded it at 315, my risk was high a day at 415. My risk was high a day at 420 over here. So I was really only risking 5 cents there, and I was ready to cut. I was completely ready to cut if I needed to. I would have just taken it off, but as you can see from this 5 minute chart on the right, it was almost a no-brainer to keep my short on. Anyways, so those were the trades for Monday that brought me over 200,000. And then the next couple days I'll get into yesterday's trade on RTNB, which was my biggest loss ever, and today's trade on IMNP, the series of 3 trades that brought me back over 200,000 in profits. And that's all I got today, guys. But if you have any questions, just leave me a comment. And if there's anything else you want to see, I'm always open to suggestions. And I do appreciate all the kind words, and we'll keep this going, get some more videos out here soon. Also going to be building a trading PC here, maybe tonight even, so I may videotape some of that, just to give you an idea of what I'm doing with that. And that's all I got. I'll catch you guys in the chat. Have a good one.
My name is Tim Sykes, and I teach people to trade stocks. I am a self-made multimillionaire.
So this is the ideal trade that I'm going to talk about. I want you guys to understand every single aspect of this trade.